I'm Debbie Weber, and we're in studio with Tony Dant.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, well, Tony, I see in your bio on your internet site that you were influenced by a lot of the older, sort of more traditional rock bands like Hendrix and Zappa even. Can you tell me about some of the...
Hendrix really goes back to my childhood. I remember back in the days of 8-track tapes. You might remember those.
Yeah.
I had Jimi Hendrix smash hits. And, you know, 8-tracks were on a loop, you know, because they would just play over and over. That was a real major influence of mine as well. Definitely Jimi Hendrix.
And I see you got Zeppelin up on the wall here in your studio. I mean, Zeppelin and...
I loved Led Zeppelin. Zappa was a really big influence. And it's really weird how Frank Zappa became an influence of mine. Secondly, because my name is Frank, which is very ironic. My name is Frank Anthony. And there's only one other guitarist in the industry named Frank Anthony, and he's Italian. He lives in England. He's really famous. Let me see if you can guess who he is. Tony Iommi, the guitarist of Black Sabbath.
Oh no!
His real name is Frank Anthony.
Oh no!
It's so ironic, and he's the other. You know, I had no idea, but
and again, Black Sabbath.
Ozzy Osbourne. And even Black Sabbath influenced me a lot, lyrically and musically, and because of the dynamic of their music, not because it was just so loud it make you deaf. It could do that too, and very good, I might say. But I liked it. You know, it was really good music. But Frank Zappa, I would have to say, was probably the greatest composer of the 20th century. I could argue why, but I could sit. It would probably take me about 8 hours, but I could sit and explain to you why he was the greatest musician of the 20th century. There's a whole lot of reasons for that to go way beyond what you might think you might know about Frank Zappa.
Yeah, I'd be interested.
Frank Zappa wrote incredible orchestra music. He has archives of music. His wife and family, they could release a different album for the next 25 years with all the material that he recorded. He was just... He was
so
a musician
too.
He was.
His lyrics were so unusual and different at the time.
They were. Like Don't Eat the Yellow Snow and all these different types of things. But those were just very small portions of what he did musically.
But so you kind of pick sort of very classical rock guitarists as sort of your influences, like Clapton.
Definitely.
But you have a lot of energy, and obviously you are always sort of playing with probably your guitar. You have an acoustic guitar, I assume. So where do your when do you get inspirations? Is it all the time? Do you sit down and practice every day? How's this work for you? This process?
It's sporadic, spontaneous.
I mean, is it in the middle of the night?
No, it used to be. Yeah, when I was a younger man, you know, if I got a wild idea, I'd be like Dr. Frankenstein, you know, turn the lights on and go down to the studio and record this epic guitar solo, you know. But I don't really so much do that anymore. As a matter of fact, this is the third time I've picked up the guitar in about 3 weeks, sitting right here in front of you. With the exception I played for a friend of mine the other day, just, you know, cold picking it up. So it's been a while. I've been involved in doing a lot of other things.
You've been in a lot of different groups, I noticed, and again from your website, if you want to tell the viewers what your website is, because it's...
It's www.tonydantmusic.com.
And in that, you mentioned that you've been in several different groups and on the road, including a country group and several rock groups, and you even did like a Zappa revival. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So can you want to talk about that? The different groups and being on the road.
I sat in and did some tours with some different bands, filling in for people that couldn't make the tours because of legal reasons, and with like 2 hours notice. Hey, can you go on tour? Like yeah, you got a CD? Well, it was a cassette then, you know, when we used to do that kind of stuff. But I did play with a lot of local bands, playing a lot of what today is known as classic rock, and that goes way back. But through the years, I've only been in, like, really 2 or 3 bands over the past 10 years. Musical bands to me are like relationships, you know. I don't have a lot of them, but the ones that were there were meaningful. And I'm real passionate about that and who I get involved with musically as well. I did have my own namesake band last year. That was a 3-piece trio, you know, blues trio. That was the Tony Dant band, and that was really fun. I really enjoyed being in that band because I was really able to really showcase my guitar playing, and we did get to play live a little bit, enough where people could hear us and I could hear real true feedback, you know, what I really sounded like. So that was fun. But I do have a lot of band experience. And the country band, that was fun. The country band was great because, honest to God, those guitar players took me back to school.
Really?
Yes. I would sit in this office for hours before the band would even show up and just, you know, on YouTube or recordings or anything I could do just to learn how to play this country music correctly. Those guys are really good.
So do you like the performance aspect as much as the musical or the composing, or what's your favorite?
It's a two-way thing. Yeah, I love playing live. I really do. I have a lot of energy. I really enjoy it, and I can perform my music very well live too. So that's a good thing. There's no bells and whistles with me.
So what do you like, the performance aspect, or the composing, or just the musicality of it, practicing?
Both really, but I really do like performing a lot because it's really a higher energy thing for me. I really do miss it, and I got a taste of it, you know, last year, and got to get out there and play. And it's just, I got that itch to do it, and the reasons are all different now. You know, I'm an older person, you know, I've paid my dues and took care of certain responsibilities in my life, but you know, now I can go out and play. I could go on a tour if I wanted to.
Tony, tell me something about how you're getting into some different types of music, because I noticed that you have some Celtic music that you're sort of getting into, and you have a blues influence also. Can you tell me about how that's evolving?
And the Celtic music kind of came out of nowhere, honestly. I really have no influences with Irish music. I heard the Irish Rovers when I was a kid, and I used to sing the song.
Back.
Yeah, I used to have the 45 of the Unicorn song, you know.
I remember that.
Yeah, I wore the record out when I was a little kid. I really liked it. But I don't know, I had possession of a very dear friend of mine's vintage Gibson mandolin, a 1912 mandolin, you know, and I had this thing sitting right on my lap, and it just sounded so good. And I had this big condenser mic. You know what a condenser mic is?
No.
It's an electrically charged microphone, like that big one right there.
Okay.
And you can hear it. Picks up an ant walking across the floor, you know. So I sat in front of me, I had this Celtic feeling, this groove. Honestly, I have no idea what came over me. Excuse me. But I proceeded to write this whole catalog of Celtic rock music, and some of it was like even kind of like a trio music with drums, bass guitar, and a mandolin. I wrote a whole bunch of different pieces with just 3-piece music like that. But I haven't really wrote anything since then like
so it's
that
like
country.
The instrument inspired you to use it for
Yes.
what it was sort
Yes.
of intended for, but
You
you
know,
developed it with a rock.
Yeah, it'd be kind of like
basis,
kind of like what's a really good analogy? Somebody puts noodles in front of you and says, "Okay, you know, make it Italian." You know, and so you're going to make it Italian. How are you going to know? They're just noodles, you know. And this mandolin, the same thing, it was there. And I just felt like, you know, let me write some Irish music. And what's that groove like? You know, these kind of melodies, like the limericks that yeah, I have heard, but I don't really listen to the music. But it was inspiring, you know, to write this. I go back and listen to some of the stuff I have. I can't believe that I wrote it, but I did. I no longer have it on tape, by the way. It's all in a digital format. You know, I was able to keep it, but I went on to use the mandolin and some other musics too, and some country rock music with similar influences. But I would like to do that again. I do possess a mandolin, so I could do that, and I always have different ideas for different instruments. But back to the Celtic thing again. I have no idea where that came from, but my heritage is Irish, so maybe there's some genome in there somewhere that triggered it. You know, it's possible.
Well, tell me about some blues, because some of your music has the rock guitar of like some of your earlier influences, and some have sort of a blues sort of. On your website you have a couple songs, and they have some blues influence. One of the songs in particular.
Mama Don't Lie would be the song that's probably the most blues.
Right, and how did that come about? Because you have influences from both.
Well, one of my influences I didn't mention, it would be Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Okay. And
Stevie Ray Vaughan was just a great, I can't even express what a talented guitar player he was. So I got on this blues kick, and I was just obsessed with like hearing him play the guitar. The guy was so good, and the result was, from all my past blues influence, on top of what a great musician he was, his music really influenced me to do that song and play that and execute that guitar stuff the way that I did. And the way that I played that was, a lot of people really don't realize it when they hear that song. Then they'll say, "You like Stevie?" You're like, "I knew that kind of reminded me of some guitar playing," but these are people in my age group, and it seems like they forgot. But yeah, it's definitely some
like
blues.
the long guitar instrumentals and the but now you also put vocals in it. Are those your vocals in the on the soundtracks? Those are your vocals.
Yep,
okay.
That's all I'm singing.
So you see, you're combining like drums and guitar and vocals, and even the mandolin.
Yep, bass guitar.
And you're doing everything and just layering
and
and using, and you're doing everything in your own studio. So you're like a true musician, and
I guess you could call me that.
You're doing everything.
My friend pointed out to me a couple weeks ago, my musician friend said, he doesn't really know anybody like me. And I was kind of laughing. We were having a couple drinks, and I said, that's funny because I don't really know anybody like me either. I did when I was younger with different commercialized studios, professional studios in the Washington area that I would go to sessions for when I was young. But I don't really know anybody that really does this. I know guys that play music and guitars. They have studios and they play the guitar, but they don't really play all the instruments like I do.
Right, and put it all together in one package.
It's really good too when you're looking for a style, or oddly enough, when you hear different types of my music, even despite they're different in style or origin, you can still tell it's me. I just bleed through it, So that's a good thing.
Yeah, and you have complete control over the creative process.
I do.
From the start to the end. You have, because you have your studio here and you have all the.
Yeah, it really helps in defining your live show too when you do that. Because if you're capable of writing your own script, if you're an actor, and if you could write your own, like Billy Bob Thornton would be a good example. You write your own scripts, and you could go out and act in your own movie. You have all your I's dotted, your T's crossed. In other words, you know what you're doing. So when I would introduce people to my music, all I have to do is go, "Here's the CD, learn it." And if they don't learn it, I can tell. I teach music also. I don't know if we mentioned that, but I teach guitar and drums. So I can tell if you're not practicing.
Okay.
Like real quick.
So how long did it take you to get to this level of proficiency? I mean, did you go through lessons the way many of us did, as through school and?
I've only had 3 lessons.
Self-taught.
Yeah, I've only had 3 lessons in my life.
Really?
And they were drum lessons when I was a kid. My mother used to comment, it's like, "You bang on these plastic pads and he drinks coffee." Yeah, so I went home, got some good Stones records and Jimi Hendrix, and just started playing, and that's how it came about. I just started playing, mimicking, what I heard. That's how that happened.
So, do you write when you compose music? Do you write it out, or
sometimes,
it's
most of the rock I just play by ear. If it has lyrical content, I will go back in my music book and I will write it physically. Write the chording and the chord progressions as well as the notation for the bass clef. And if the drum beat's real important, if it's something it's extraordinary, I'll go ahead and write the drum parts out, unless I can record them. So as long as I have documentation, when recorded, or written down.
I hope you've enjoyed our time today on In Studio with Tony Dant. We'll see you next time.